Everything we do here at James Project focuses on caring for vulnerable women and children because we believe that's the call that God has placed on every one of us as Christians.
Hey everyone, we're back with a November update with Tiffany from the James Project. So how you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you, Kathy?
I am fine, thanks. October was a really busy month. You were down there a lot. So
It was a busy month. I go about once a month, and in October I was there 3 times, but there was a lot going on in October.
yeah.
So yeah, we had some meetings. I had a vision trip that I led a group down, and then the final trip was a lot of fun because we had our 15th birthday party, which
Mm-hmm.
we had a beautiful group of girls and one young man that we celebrated. And that following Saturday, we baptized 12 kids. So
Wow,
it was a week of celebration. It was very, very exciting.
that's a nice way to finish the month.
It is. It is. It was just amazing. We had a celebration, obviously, that day. We put a pool up and we baptized the kids on our property, and a local church comes and the pastor does the service for us, but we're all there. And then afterwards, there was a special meal for everyone. So it was a good time. It was it
Nice.
was a big family event.
Yeah, yeah. Because how many kids are on property right now? Over
We
110,
have
right?
Yeah, it depends on who's come and who's gone, but normally we're anywhere between 103 and 111 kids.
Yeah, yeah.
And actually it'll be going up soon because we have several of our kids that were in our homes moved in October. At the end of October, we had, I believe, 3 or 4 kids that had turned 18 that have
Mhm.
now moved over to Casa Esperanza or to
Mhm.
the transition house in the city,
Oh, wow. Okay.
bringing up additional spaces.
Hmm. Well, that's exciting. That is
Yes, very
exciting. Yeah, it's always nice to be able to say yes when the judge calls if you have room, right?
It is, and for the first time, we had Karina and Crystal, who were in Casa Maria. It's the first time we've had a young lady from Casa Maria move over to Casa Esperanza, the transition home. So
Wow.
her and Crystal are now over in the transition home, which is a new stage for us,
Mhm.
a new step. So it's an exciting new adventure in
Mm.
Casa Esperanza.
Yeah, so for anyone who's listening who doesn't understand, that's from the teen pregnancy home. So it's a mom and her daughter that have now
Yes,
moved to Casa Esperanza. That is exciting. So one
yes.
step closer to her independence and ability to take care of her and her daughter by herself. That's
It
exciting.
was something with her story, Kathy, that has been so beautiful to watch. When she came in, obviously her story, it's been hard. It's been a hard journey. And when she came in, she was dealing with a lot. And most of our kids that come in they love their babies. She had
Mhm.
the hardest time connecting with her daughter because of the trauma that was there. But now they are so connected, and she loves her daughter so much. And when I was there in October before she moved, she was asking, "What's gonna happen? I'm not leaving Crystal." She thought we were gonna move her over and leave her baby in Casa Maria. And we explained, "No, I mean, we want you to be a family." And she goes, "Oh, good, because I didn't wanna leave her." So she's so excited to be able to go over with her daughter now.
Mhm.
And she said, "So do I still get to be part of Casa Maria? I don't wanna be all alone." And
Mhm.
part of the beauty of Casa Esperanza is that you're still part of that family. So they can still go share a meal or spend Sunday, visit, that type of thing, but it gives them a step towards independence as well.
Yeah.
So she where she came into the conversation very scared and very nervous, by the end, she was very excited about,
Mhm.
that next step. So that was fun to see.
Exciting. And for anyone who hasn't been, it's like they're neighbors, right? Casa Esperanza's it's still on the property. It's just down the hill from Casa Maria. So it's like a big neighborhood. So
Right.
even though she's on her own, she's very close to home. So she can still go visit, which is really nice. And her daughter can still see everyone and play with the kids and hang out. So, right.
Right.
Yeah. That's such a great setup that you have. I'm glad that it worked out to have that transition home on the property. I think it's
Yeah.
a nice adjustment for them to be able to be there and still have oversight, but have that freedom because even when it was in town, they had a house parent, correct? They weren't
They
really
did.
on. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
They weren't, and, and with Casa Esperanza being on the property, they do
Mhm,
have that safety. They have the security of being there, and it's that soft place to land. But without having house parents in that area, it does
mhm.
give them the chance to fail, to make,
Right.
and when I tell people about what it is when we have 100 kids up in the houses, we have rules about phones, we have rules about technology, and we
Mhm,
do in all of our houses here too.
mhm,
But sometimes when you become an adult, you need to learn to fail in ways like if you're up texting with friends or
mm,
some cute boy all night long and you have to study or go to work in the next morning, you
mhm.
can't do that at the homes. But if you do it in Casa Esperanza, you learn pretty quickly that's exhausting. I don't want to do that anymore. So
Right.
just some of those lessons that they can learn in a safe place,
Yeah, yeah,
and they have to cook. They have to do the cleaning. There's just things that they work out on their own down there in a safe environment.
yeah,
So I feel like it's been very, very successful.
yeah. That's great. And how many girls are in Casa Esperanza right now?
Um, Either 4 or 5 plus the baby.
Mhm.
I'm
So
not
you.
sure how many transferred over, and then one transferred to the city
Mhm,
as well. So now we have 3 in the city at this time in our Casa Petra is what we call it,
mhm.
house on the rock.
Right. So good for these kids to
Yeah.
make the transition to adulthood. And we have some other exciting news for the kids for graduations, right? This when did school
We
finish?
Our
The end.
school finished officially in October. They still go through, tutoring and reinforcement this month, but we had our graduation, and we had 1 high school graduate. That was
Mhm,
Elizabeth. She's the one who moved to the city, into our transition home in the city, and she's gonna start studying law this coming year, and she's already got a job where
mhm,
she's on salary, so she's making good money, and she's gonna start university. She's an amazing kid, so we're really excited to see her fly. She's Alejandra's sister
mhm, mhm.
in Rose Valley, so she has a
Good role
family
model.
line of
Mhm,
success, yeah, so she's got great role models. And then
mhm.
we've also had 4 junior high graduates, which means next year, starting in January, we have 4 more kids that'll be heading into the city, into Monjas to study
For
and
high school.
picking the career or the path that they wanna study. So,
That's wonderful.
that's always a big step for them because when they first go off the property, it's scary for them. It's something new, it's something unknown, but seeing them grow in their independence and confidence is I mean, it's amazing to see, and we see it every January when a new group goes out.
Yeah, yeah, and they walk to school, correct?
They do. They
Mhm,
do. Which is
mhm.
normal there. I mean, most people do their walking around town, so they walk to school and back, but it gives them a chance to go to tiendas, to a little store and buy a snack. They meet friends, they have study groups, so they meet people outside the walls.
Right.
And as beautiful as James Project is and as amazing and full of life, they're behind those walls all the time, so there is some institutionalization that happens. Getting them out and in the community helps to start transitioning them towards that independence and that deinstitutionalization process.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and it's very much like our own kids, right? I mean, we don't necessarily call it institutionalizing, but when we have our kids at home and it, I mean, lots of times they go out to school earlier than high school, but I've homeschooled my kids, so sending them out to different things at different times, it's very similar. It's that
Right.
chance to be independent, to experience something outside these walls, and it's very, very healthy for them.
It
Yeah.
is even, with our own kids too. If we go to Walmart and the first time you tell your kid, "Okay, you go in and you get this and pay for it," and they're like,
Yeah.
they're terrified to take that step, and then but doing it builds confidence, and they realize that they can do it.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah, so not a lot different, but I'm
No.
excited that and there'll be 4 of them to go together, so that's good. Good.
Yes. And I think
Yeah.
they'll go to different schools, or
Oh,
some of them will go to different schools, but
is it
depending on what they wanna study.
Right, because high school there is more of like picking a lane, like a
Yes,
yeah, a course of study. So gotcha,
yes.
which I think is very wise. So what else is going on? You've got some needs?
We do. We are still asking for prayer for the CNA approval. This has gone on again a very long time, but we're still trying to wrap that up. We ask that you pray with us that we can do what they're asking and do it well so that we can get that approval done. We're in need of two sets of house parents. One set has already transitioned out, and the other will be transitioning out before the end of the year. We have possible some possibilities that may be joining us. We ask that you pray with us that God brings the right people for each of those houses, and pray for the kids in those houses because transition is always difficult.
Yeah.
When you've come from what feels like abandonment and,
Mhm,
the traumas that they've had, another change is difficult for them. So please keep our kids in your prayers as well.
mhm. Yeah.
And we went in and we talked to the house last time I was there, one of the houses where they're transitioning,
Mhm.
and we explained the house parents love you. It's not because of
Right.
that, but sometimes God, the Bible's clear in Ecclesiastes. There's a time for everything, a time to laugh, a time to cry, a time to dance, a time to mourn.
Mhm,
There's seasons, and sometimes God moves our house parents or our staff to somewhere else.
mhm.
And it's not because they're mad, it's not because we're mad, it's just God has moved them to someplace else.
Right.
And that's kind of what's happening. But when he closes one door, he opens another. And I'm a big believer that God's plans are best. So the best is yet to come. Whatever's coming, my hope is when I move on, somebody better comes in right behind us that can take the organization further, that can do more. And
Mhm.
and that's our hope with each set of house parents when people come and go.
Yeah. And they are amazing people.
They are.
So, yeah. And your how's the match going?
We are making progress. We do have some exciting news. We have the $125,000 match. So through the end of the year, we have been moving forward. Every dollar that is given will be doubled. A Canadian has put up another 25,000. So for the next $25,000 that is raised, every dollar given will be tripled.
Wow.
So right now you have maximum impact for your donation.
Mm,
So we ask you if you're looking at making an end of year donation, if you've considered donating to this match, now is the best time to do it because you give one and we get three out of the deal. So we are so excited about that.
yeah.
And that money raised goes towards the redeemed land, the Village of Hope that we purchased. We've already begun work on the land. We bought it. We've begun digging the well. There's a lot of rocks on the land, so we thought we would be done by now, but they had to bring in another machine to break through some rocks. So we're
Mm,
not quite done digging the well yet. We've already started putting up the wall around the land, which
oh,
is critical for the safety of the women.
mhm.
And we're in the process of getting electricity run to the land, which those three things are once we get those three things done, we can start building homes and moving women and children into a safe place.
Wow.
And we on James 127, when it's talking about caring for orphans and widows, we believe, and with Shadow of His Wings, our children's home, it's such a big part of what we do. And we
Mhm,
have to help those that have been hurt. But the more we can do on the preventative side,
mhm.
I mean, for me, uh, that is such a huge impact that
Yeah.
we can make because it stops. For less money, you can prevent abuse than
Right.
trying to heal the abuse after it's happened. And it can affect you stop if you break the chain with one person, it affects generations down the road. So I think the impact is just it can be so huge on this Village of Hope. So we're so
Mhm,
excited about what's happening
mhm,
there already and how quickly we're able to move. We think over the next year, probably that's going to be our biggest opportunity to impact the lives of women and children is through that Village of Hope.
mhm. Yeah, that's gonna be amazing. And, you talk about, impacting one generation and the ripple effect. It was so neat. If people haven't heard Alejandra's and, Glendy's and Tracy's and Lilibet's stories. I hope they will go back and listen, because the impact that the James Project has had on their lives, it was so nice to hear their success stories, and how much it's not only just given them a picture of what their life could be like that's different than where they grew up, and that hope for a better future, but also what struck me was how the James Project has taught them to forgive, so that they're able to move on in a healthy emotional way with relationship. And that was so impactful to me, because it's not just that you're providing them a safe place. You're really trying to speak to their heart and the hurt that's there, and help them heal that. It will help them look to God to heal that, but also learn how to forgive the people that hurt them, so that they don't
Mhm.
take that bitterness and resentment, and it doesn't take root in their heart, and they take it into adulthood. They're all going to be, I mean, they're already, a couple of them are such great moms, but the other two, they're all going to be amazing heads of their family for generations. The impact is incredible. So,
It
yeah.
is. That forgiveness piece is so key, because we
Yeah.
see so many people in this world that just hold on to so much bitterness and so much anger, and you can't live a full life when you're just filled with bitterness and anger and fear and resentment. And to see them let that go and to
Mhm.
go forward with hope. I mean, when somebody has hope and believes in a positive future, it
Yeah.
changes everything. And the impact they can make
Mhm.
around them on their world around them is huge when they let that go. It
Yeah.
is it, it is, I believe, one of the parts about James Project that is the most beautiful is
Mm.
seeing that transformation, because it's not just going through some mantra that, that happened, whatever. Now I'm going to fight to succeed. I'm going to do something different. It is truly a health, getting healthy all the way, mentally, emotionally, physically, educationally. I mean, it's a holistic approach to it, which has a much longer impact than just meeting a physical need.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really remarkable. So I was so glad to get to share their stories.
Uh,
Yeah.
They're all pretty incredible. Glendy this year, just so you know, she has college university down there is a different bird than it is here. And it's
Mhm.
about 5 years, but then after 5 years, then you have to go through a series of exams that you have to take, and you have to pass the exams. You have to do a thesis, and then you actually sit normally and do this exam, a panel of people. It's an oral exam, and you have to
Mhm.
answer these questions. It's a big deal. It's like defending your doctorate
Wow.
and, your doctorate thesis here. It's a big deal. And Glendy has passed her exams and now is just waiting for the date for graduation. Saline is the same. Saline passed her exams this year. So we are thinking Saline will either be later this year.
Mhm.
And now that's the thing. You still have to wait for your date, your final
Mhm.
date to get your
Diploma.
license.
Mhm.
But they have gone through all of the educational steps, which is just, it's huge. It's a huge success for them.
Yeah. That is so amazing, and something they couldn't have fathomed before coming to the James Project. Like, it wasn't even something that they could imagine happening in their lives. So
No.
what an amazing blessing.
And as I'm sharing that, one of the things that about the 15th birthday party this year that was so cool, Kathy,
Mhm.
is we invited all of the local kids back, those that have grown up and moved on. We invited them back for the party, and I think there were 15 kids there. I
Oh.
say kids, they're not kids anymore. A lot of them are in their 30s.
Mhm.
I mean, that came back and Glendy's younger sister Vilma was there. She was married and had a baby. She had a baby
Mhm.
about a month before that. Astrid, who was there when we first went down in 2006. I think she moved from the city and was there. Itzel, who some people know from, she was there for many years. Wendy and Celeste were both there. It was so incredible seeing all of these kids who grew up in the project coming back with love in their hearts to support this next generation that's coming, that's growing up there. And for us, because we've been involved for so long, we knew these kids. Some of
Mhm.
them we sponsored from 2006 on, and to see them and see them doing well it
Mhm.
was just a beautiful thing. Jubilis came out,
Oh.
Margarita came out.
Mhm.
Uh, I think pretty much almost all of the local kids were
Mhm.
there, and I say kids again. I mean, they're adults at this point, but they were there and we got to see them and love them. And it was really, really fun to see them all there. And it was such, I mean, it just touched our hearts seeing everybody there because they're amazing. And, we say we're family and we love them.
Mhm.
But when they leave, you don't know when you're going to get to see them again or if you're going to get to. But for them to come home so we could see them and celebrate with them, it was a great night.
That's so wonderful. And it just speaks to the impact that it has to be able, for them to call that home and want to come back and really
Yeah.
speak into the lives of the next generation. That is such a beautiful thing. Yeah, I'm glad. Gets me teary.
Yeah, it did us too. It did us
Yeah.
too. So the last thing I'll share, because I know we're going long, is just a few prayer requests that we have. We got a call from Child Services down there, and they have in the local city, they found a baby, 11 days old, in the middle of a field and asked if we would take the baby. The baby's in the hospital. It's supposed to come yesterday. I haven't gotten word yet that we've received it, so it may still be in the hospital. But if you'll please pray for the health and healing of this young baby, because regardless, I know people think the baby's so young won't remember the trauma. They remember. The trauma marks their lives, so pray for
Mhm.
healing for them and for just help, I mean, emotional healing and as well as physical healing. Also, if
Mhm.
people will pray, we are fighting some spiritual battles right now. We have some things that are going on that we just need God's angels fighting with us,
Mhm.
fighting for us, honestly. So if you'll pray for the spiritual health of the project, for every child that's there,
Mhm.
specifically pray over our boys' homes because there's some battles going on there that we could use prayer support in. And
Mhm.
finally, if you'll pray for wisdom for our judges, we have some very, very difficult court cases right now and some very complex things going on. And if you just pray that the judges have wisdom to make the right decisions, the best decisions for the health of the children and for the lives of the children that are involved.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely important prayer requests. Is that anything else?
I think that's it. That's a lot, but I think
It
that's
is a
it.
lot. It is a lot. All right. Well, we'll check in again in December. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Have a great day.
You too.